Okay, so now what you're going to do is you are going to figure out what it is you would like to draw, or I'm sorry, paint. So there's a couple, you can make your own image if you want. So if you want to bring in a specific piece of fruit or a flower, that's totally fine. Or if you want to take a picture of one of the plants in the room, kind of zoomed in, that's totally fine as well. Otherwise, you can do a Google search. Now, if I'm doing a Google search, there's a couple options for you. One of the things you could do is you could search up, make sure you do close up because we want zoomed in. Otherwise, you can, it'll just be a little more work on your end. But so my first Google search is close up organic images. That way, it'll like eliminate people's faces or mechanical things because we want something, a fruit or a vegetable of sorts. Okay, something more organic. So then you can search here and you can see how you come up with a lot of really interesting things. Now, let's take a look at this avocado right here. This would not work because that's not really a zoomed in close up like we actually know it's an avocado. We're looking for images that are so close, like zoomed in on the object that we can barely tell what it is. So like this pepper right here, that would be perfect. And actually that's a really lovely photo. That's a perfect image for something like this. Also make sure you're only finding photographs. You can't paint from someone else's painting because that is plagiarism. All right, so you can see if I search organic, I come up with some interesting stuff. If I change my search to flowers, you can see you get a lot of really interesting things. Now let's talk about this. These two here, the pink and the red one, those are fine photos, but they are not compositionally very interesting. Notice they're centered and everything is perfectly symmetrical. So as far as painting, that would be a little bit of a boring painting, okay? That doesn't mean you can't use this flower. So you could copy and paste this flower into another doc and then crop it so that this isn't centered, all right? Now, this purple one over here, that's a perfect close-up and a really awesome composition, okay? So remember, you want to try to create visual interest with movement, with emphasis. You want the viewer to move their eye across the page, okay? Again, this daisy right here, or maybe it's a sunflower, I don't know. Anyway, this would not be exactly what we're looking for because we can see the entire flower, all right? But this sunflower over here, that's perfect. It's zoomed in. I can tell it's a flower a little bit, but it's not, perfectly, I don't see the whole thing, okay? So you can see if you Google close-up flower images, you get a lot of really interesting objects. And then let's go with fruits. Again, you get some super interesting pieces, okay? You're gonna get a lot of citrus fruit. I do not know why there are so many pictures of citrus fruit close up. No idea. I had someone last semester that did the strawberry. The strawberry's fine. I'm gonna tell you though, it's hard because you have to paint all those little seeds, and all those little seeds have a highlight and a shadow. So just keep that in mind. Again, a lot of interesting stuff. Because what we're looking for is an image that we can, because in this project we're concentrating on creating various value schemes, color schemes. And so you want something that has a change in tone there, okay? All right. Okay, so then after you pick your image, so I'm just gonna, let me go back to the fruit one, or the flower one. So after you pick your image, then what you're gonna do is do a couple thumbnail sketches, okay? So pretend I picked this one. And I'm going to move this over here. Okay, so I've picked this, it looks like a lily to me, not 100% sure. So then what I'm going to do is a couple quick thumbnails. Remember, thumbnails are really just so that you can lay out your composition and make sure that it makes sense to you. Okay. All right. Now, with the acrylic, you really didn't get to manipulate the shape of your canvas, but with watercolor, because we're using paper, it's much easier to cut. If you want to, if your painting makes more sense as a square, we can cut your paper to a square. So you can kind of play around with that as well, like rectangle versus square, landscape versus portrait, which means like landscape would be more of a horizontal and then portrait would be more of a vertical. So, you have those options as well. Okay. So what I'm going to do is you do a couple quick sketches. You're really just like, okay, how far in do I want to zoom? And you're deciding, you're like, do I want to draw it exactly like I see it? Do I want to chop something a little bit? So those are just a couple quick thumbnails, okay? And then think about your color scheme. You can go directly off the photograph and choose those colors. So if I were, just going to do directly off these colors, it would be a purple and orange and yellow color scheme, okay? And then green for the background. Great. But if you want to mix it up a little bit, if you're like, I don't know if I really want to paint the flower purple, I might want to try something different, then you're going to need to do a couple samples. So say you decide, I want to make that flower red. Okay, well, if you want to make it red, you need to figure out what kind of red's going to work with the yellow and the orange, and do a little practice right here with some mixing up of a little bit of the watercolor. Okay. All right, so these are your sketches. Take along with your reference photo. So either if you're looking up this photo on your phone, do a screenshot, or if you're doing it on your Chromebook, just do a copy, a copy and paste to a doc, and then upload it into Classroom, into the assignment that says reference photo and sketches. I also want to see your sketches as well. And remember, these are just quick sketches. So don't feel like you don't have to draw the flower in its entirety. You're trying to figure out, do I want to work square? Do I want to work rectangle? If I'm working rectangle, am I going portrait? Am I going landscape? What works best for my composition? Okay? All right.